Hans Westerman here. Continue with Blender 3D software introductions. This time we will be speaking about three different aspects. One would be UV maps, how to unwrap those UVs, creating materials, applying them, and then doing a final render of your model. So we started out with learning how to create our object. This is a wireframe shot. This is the model with a solid surface, and it is this surface which, once we're done, is going to be looking something like this. So let's get started. We are going to be splitting this up, I think, into three different presentations. So just so that you're aware. First one is UV unwrapping. Right now we're under the UV editing tab. We're used to working in the modeling and also the layout. We have our object mode. When we select an object, we have also different options where we can move to. This time what we're going to do is, with this selected, go into the UV editing. And what we're going to do is see how we can separate this object into different flat surfaces so that we can then apply textures to them and then do our final render. So let's get rid of some things here first from the scene so it's easier for us to see. The cord I think we can also get rid of, and also the phone receiver. All right, so here we are. What we want to do is, first of all, go to the wireframe mode, the letter Z. On your keyboard, select wireframe. And these light blue lines indicate where we have a hard edge. This time we're going to define where our seams or our separating borders are going to be. So let's start out by choosing a few of these. I'm going to start out first of all by hitting Z once again and go down to solid. Underneath, what I'm going to want to do here is select a surface that is going to be going all the way around, and I will do it right here. So the number 2, Alt. That's not the one we want. I wanted one which was inside, so I think maybe we'll just take this one right here. Let's take a look and see what we got right there. Again, Alt, and now you can see that we have this all the way around. Z, wireframe, that's fine. You can see that. That's the first seam I'm going to put in here. Right-click. Mark the seam. Now you can see that's defined by being red. We're going to do the same thing up here, right here. Alt, it's going all the way around. Right-click, mark the seam, and then the final one is going to be a little bit more complex. So we're going to start out first of all by clicking on this one right here. Alt brings us to the different sections in this loop, which you can see is broken up. Shift, add these two, and then let's click on Alt and Shift again. Alt and Shift, that's not the one we want. Z, try this one more time. Alt Shift, so, and then we're going to go once again to this one, which would be Shift, and then Alt Shift, there, Shift, Shift, Alt Shift, and the final ones here, Alt Shift, Shift I believe. Let's see what happens if I click on this one here, Shift. Okay, so now we have the next loop that we have defined. Right click, mark the seam, And now we have one surface that's going to be created, two surfaces, three, and four. One final thing that we want to do here is that I know that I'm going to be applying an image on this surface right here. So I'm going to prepare that also, Z, solid, and then let's just go ahead and go to, but I want to fix this a little bit here first. I see. I'm going to take this one, move it over. Looks a little bit funky. There we go. There, that's a little bit straighter now. And we're going to go to, once again, it's going to be click on once, but we need to have the wireframe, so that's number 2. Excuse me for that. It's going to be shift, and then shift again, I guess, is what it is. We're going to go down here to shift, shift, and then we're going to do shift control. There we go. And then same thing here, shift, shift, and shift. Right click and mark the seam. All right, Z, wireframe. So now we have one surface, two surfaces, three surfaces, 4, 5. There'll be 5 surfaces we're going to do. Next we're going to do is right click on, we're going to hit the number 3, and then region select everything. You can see this is the original layout of the UV map because we started with a box. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, well, there's 6 sides here anyway. And let's go ahead now and right click UV map faces that we're going to unwrap, and we're going to go to minimum stretch. I think that's what we want to do at this point. And here you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 surfaces, just like we were talking about. All right, with this done, we're going to go ahead and move to the next object. So I'm going to go back to object mode. Let's turn this one off and turn on the phone receiver. And from here, once again, we're going to select surfaces. Z, solid, because it'll be easier for me to see this. Although I'm in object mode, might have to do the same thing again once we select this. W, go to the edit mode again, and we're going to do this one more time. So let's do it like this. We're going to start out first of all. If you think of it, unwrapping it like we've wrapped this in fabric, and we want to cut it down into flat surfaces. So I'm going to start out first of all by going to the number 2, Alt will give me my edge loop, Alt Shift. Again, because we started this as a box, Alt Shift. This one as well, Alt Shift. And right click and then mark the seam just so that we don't lose track. Next thing we're going to do is go underneath here, which is going to be right in this side is what I want. So I'm going to go to Alt and then Alt. There we go. Alt Shift. Once again, this is like the borders for the box. Once more, right click, mark that seam. Let's do the same thing over here. Will be Alt, Alt Shift, all the way around, right click, mark the seam one more time. Now this one's going to be a little bit more complex, but I think we can do it anyway. So we're going to start out with this one here. It's going to be, well actually we need to do one down here as well too. So it's going to be Alt, all the way around. Maybe we can just append this one over here on this side. Alt Shift, right click, mark the seam, and then once again here we're going to keep going. So I'm going to try to split this thing up as if I was going to fold this out as a fabric, sort of. So let's start out here. Alt, New, click once, Shift and Control. There we have that one. Then we have these guys. So it's going to be Alt, Shift. Same thing here, Alt, Shift. And then maybe here as well. So I'm going to go to Shift and then right here, Shift, Control. Next thing here too would be Shift and then Shift, Control. And then next one, Shift, Shift, Control. Here, Shift, Shift, Control, Shift, Shift, Control. Right click, mark the seam. Okay, so now we have this kind of set up. We have quite a few sections here. So I think it's going to work out. Interesting enough, but let's go ahead and give this a shot. Right click, excuse me, wireframe. Of course, we have to be in the faces mode, region select all of those. And here we started with a plane, and that's why it looks like this. But again, right click, unwrap the faces, and we go to unwrap minimum stretch. And there we have these guys here. Now, it looks a little bit different, but I think we're going to be able to we have this now so that we can work with this later. But up here, we have the ability to select of these UV mapping coordinates that we have. UV, the vertices, edges, the faces, or the isolated canvas surface that we created with our seams right here. So if I click on this one, you can see that I can access that pretty quickly. Same thing here, and then you can see the same thing here. Looks like there was one that was missed. Maybe not. Okay, I think we're okay. So we have this one there. That one is at the top. And then we have these guys that were on the bottom, like this. And I think that that's good at this point. So we're going to take a look. There is something that's a little bit fishy over here, but you know we're gonna re-look at that. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but let's go back to this and see what happened then. So I have my seams. Okay, so that was this. This one here looks like I missed this one. So let's go ahead and do it one more time. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Number 2, bring this up again. Maybe if I do this as a surface, it'll be a little bit easier to see. That one. Shift and Control. Then let's take this one. Shift, Shift and Control. Shift, Shift and Control. So now it should work. I'm going to go ahead and once again mark the seam. Go back to this. So you can see it's going to be pretty easy to redo this. And I guess that's significant to understand as well. But let's just go back to 3. Let's go back to the wireframe, select them all, right click, and let's once again go to unwrap and unwrap stretch. So there, this is a little bit more uniform. That's exactly what we wanted. So now we have the phone receiver unwrapped as well as the phone body. And let's just go back to that so that we can see both of these things together. If I go to the body, click on this one, 2, Shift, then back to the edit mode. Now you can see that we have all these guys, both that as well as what's underneath here as well. And let's see what happens if I do this. Yeah, you can see that I can work with these guys here. Okay, so anyway, that would be the first video or presentation, as it were, that we're going to be working with, and then the next one is going to be materials.